Good evening and welcome to the BSR Grand Tour on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick and alongside me on the cameras is Alex Simpson, and we're here at the beloved Watkins Glen circuit for 3 races this evening. The first one, judged on qualifying, will be 20 minutes long. The second, a random reverse, further 20 minutes for race 2. And then the third race will be judged on the finishing results of race 2 for the grid, and will be a longer 35-minute race, 1 pit stop, and judging by last week's race at Circuit of the Americas, we should be in for another fantastic event. Of course, we've already covered one season of this series and a very tight championship last time, but of course all new this season, and yeah, plenty of new drivers and plenty of new competitors out there battling for the race victory out there. Of course, this 5.41 kilometer circuit, one of the oldest on the iRacing track roster, and does always delivers great racing out here, and should be some very good side-by-side action. Alex will be with us very, very soon, but
I'm indeed back.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, just sorting out a couple of things, and yeah, I was just saying how this circuit always creates a lot of great racing. Classic boot today, no chicane, and it's always fascinating, isn't it? Down that back straight, the outside line so often is significantly faster than the inside line. It really does make defending down there incredibly tactical and incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it is, and hello everyone. Just to say, good to be here as always. But yeah, I mean, I love the classic layout actually, because I feel like that carousel corner becomes a great overtaking opportunity no matter where you are. If somebody defends the inside, then you can go around the outside of them. It is, you have to pull off the move, but you can do it, and then vice versa. If someone wants to defend the outside, because you can defend around the outside as well and give up the inside, because of course you'll have the inside for the shoot. So yeah, it is quite a tactical corner. What a lot of people don't actually realize, and you mentioned it about, sometimes the inside's a bit slower, and not so much with these GT cars, but certainly with the lower formula cars, the center line of that straight is very raised, and you find actually that cars bottom out along the middle. So a lot of what people do is they just move over into the middle, and of course they start scraping their chassis on the bottom of the circuit there, and it really reduces their straight line speed, and it just makes them a bit of a sitting duck. But yeah, we won't see that with the GTs today, so I think they can pick and choose which way they want to defend based on their preferred line going into the shoot.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, we were here last season, weren't we? I don't remember. I don't know if you remember, Alex, but the first couple of starts we got were quite. I don't really know what the. Basically, there were 2 pile-ups in the first couple of races up the hill, and it's one of them. I can't really think of a more difficult kind of first section of corners where a pile-up is so likely, because yeah, all the cars barreling into there, and if one hits the wall, then kind of loses control, then it affects all those behind.
There's just no room, and we've seen this in lots and lots of series that we've covered as well. So, and I expect we'll see it in many, many more as well as Thompson comes in. So aborted that lap, but everyone seeming to abort a lap. Jamie Ayres, is he going to come around and finish his time? I don't think so. That looks like a slow lap as well. So yeah, and around anyway. And see Jacobson. It's worth pointing out as well, we're starting to get some idea of who is in what class as well this season. So we've got we've obviously got the Pro, we've got the Am, and there's another class, and I have to forgive, or you guys will have to forgive us as well, because we just need to get confirmation from Lee exactly what the class is, because we only see the abbreviations. So, which is JK. So, but I thought it was like Murray Walker Cup or something was the other one that they were doing. So, sorry, RK. So, I'm not sure what that one is.
RK.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, we'll find out. Lots of mysteries to be solved.
We will, exactly. We'll have to figure that one out. So, right, I think we might well have official grid coming in? No, we're still waiting for one car, I think.
Got 15 more seconds to go, and I can't actually see any cars on track, so I don't really know what we're waiting for, but we will just tick down these final 6 seconds. But great to see so many drivers out there, and really competitive drivers out there. We remember last season, of course, Anwar Smith kind of ran away with the championship. On this grid, Alex, he's down in 7th, over a second off the pole position time. It's really does show the quality of the field out there, which is great to see.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted a few more drivers, didn't we, last week? And it's good, like you say, the more we get, the closer the field will be. So the better quality racing we'll have. And as has been alluded, this works quite nicely as our warm up to Monday night's World GT series race, which there's a few more drivers, a few more teams taking part in that. But they keep bringing people into this one, and it will sort of stand on its own 2 feet, I feel.
Yes,
Right,
definitely.
grid is available to us.
Awesome. And it's Josh Thompson on pole position. I don't know if, of course, any viewers managed to catch the iRacing Grand Tour series earlier on, but if you didn't, certainly watch it. It was a fantastic battle, and Josh Thompson was in the middle of it and was a little bit aggrieved by the end of it. And we'll be looking for a bit of vengeance. Richard Gafencu dominated at Kota. He starts on the front row. He actually got 3 out of 3 victories. Michael Abdoka, always a quick driver. However, he was 8/10 off the pole position time. He starts in 3rd with Sven Glitchell. I think this is his first round of the season in 4th. Richard Warming, good to see him back, always quick in 5th with Steve Labelli 6th. Anwar Smith starts in 7th, last season's kind of first 9 races champion, if you will, but didn't win the overall title. Lane O'Connor starts in 8th, good qualifying for him. Bart Delman 9th, and Jamie Ayres in 10th. Then behind that, Michael Gray, Ronald Moons, Colin Robinson, Anthony Jacobson, Ralph Cullinan, Chaz Jacob, Max Wright. Of course, we'll be supporting Chaz up there. Max Wright, Lee Woodburn, Stephen Burke, Carl Hardy, and Scott Malcolm rounding out the field. Any drivers that you feel are a little bit out of position there, Alex, who you feel could maybe make their way through the field, or any drivers who you think maybe have overperformed slightly in that qualifying session?
Not really, actually. I think I think that's kind of where we would expect to see people. To be fair, maybe Chaz a little bit higher up, I would normally expect to see, but I think Chaz would agree he's not a front runner, so sort of mid-pack, so he can move forward a few places and be right where he is. So, yeah, I don't think so. I think, people are sort of well placed, which usually means the first race is going to be competitive, but will probably still sort of fan out a fair bit as the race goes on. Just want to quickly look at championship standings, as you may have talked about. I'm sorry, while I was off air.
No,
obviously, Richard Gafencu on 152 points, with a solid start to the season. You mentioned, of course, 3 wins out of 3 for him. Steve Lavelli in 2nd place, 96 points, so 56 behind. So quite a gap already for Richard. And it's Emma Smith, followed by Michael Blake, Scott Malcolm, who is the top of the RK class runners as well. And Anthony Jacobson was leading the AMS, but 6 overall in itself. So, yeah, good job from him. Of course, those people all in what will be the Showdown places moving forward. So, Rafe Cullinan is sort of like the best of the rest on 50 points, with Robinson next, but they're all fairly close after that. So actually, just after the first race, as you can imagine, we don't want to get too giddy, because I feel like it's pretty close and we could be for a fair change.
Yeah, and interestingly, championship winner last season, Lee Deemer, down in 7th. Oh, sorry, it's not 7th. 13th in the standings. So not a good start to the season for him. Michael Gray, unusually down the field as well. But yeah, actually, Rafe Cullinan, another driver who got into the Showdown last season. Yeah, of course, out of the top 6, as you previously mentioned, Alex. So yeah, should be, as we said earlier on, it's a new start this season. We forget last season really about all what happened, but this season is going to be very, very different. And Richard Gavenku will be trying to get his 4th race out of 4 from the front row of the grid, but he's got a very quick Josh Thompson alongside him.
Very quickly, before we go green, we're just hearing from the chat that we believe that RK stands for rookie. Now, why wouldn't it?
Because that is how you spell rookie, of course.
Yeah, it's obvious to everyone but us, apparently. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Of course, join us on Facebook as well as YouTube. Thank you very much. Here we go then. Race 1 of the night. Over to you, Sam.
No great start for Thompson, and Gavenku is already on the outside. Round the outside going into turn 1. It's going to be side by side, I think, between the two of them. Up the hill. Gavenku got the run out of it, and he's got the lead off Thompson. That BMW, he needs a lot of grunt in it now. And Sven Glitzor's gone up into P3, so good start from the even side of the grid. Thompson closing down the straight, but I'm not sure if he's got enough grunt. It's side by side just behind Glitzor and Evdotka. But Glitzor hanging on, Evdotka not really finding too much speed. The BMW too quick. Thompson looking for a move, maybe not quite close enough. And yes, still Glitzor hanging on down the inside. Evdotka might lose out another position here, but Scott the inside going down the chute. And Evdotka holds onto the P4 Willie. Anwar Smith up 2 positions, but clean start in the end. We were concerned about a pile-up, but a weird start from Thompson there, Alex, to straight away lose the race lead.
Yeah, I mean, just left it a bit late, didn't he, to get going, which was a bit surprising. But yeah, I'm sure he can possibly fight back on this one. I wonder if Sven Glitzor is actually Sven Glatzel. Of course, we know him from the BSR TC, very, very quick driver. But maybe not. You never know with these league names nowadays whether they can change them or not. So if it's not, then sorry, Sven. But obviously we know him very, very well, and yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see a BSR driver change their name slightly for a different league.
Well, we think Jaime Ayres is Jamie Ayres, but we're not actually sure about that. So Jaime or Jamie? If you are listening to this,
okay, I see him as Jamie.
You see him? Oh, really?
Absolutely, okay. On my overlay, he's Jamie. So
okay, I've got Jaime on mine.
Crash in the background. That was between Moons and Jacobson, I think. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Let's take a quick look, see what happened there between these two.
Oh, late move down the inside, wasn't it? And
yeah, just going to his rear. So
Thompson. Oh, we got Glitchell down. Glitchell's out, I think, and Evdotka as well. Evdotka and Glitchell both fallen down the field. They were very close to one another. Glitchell nearly managed to get 2nd position beforehand, and I'd wonder if something's happened down into turn 1. And there's and Glitchell losing out. Sorry, so did he lose any positions? I don't. Oh, so this was the replay. Sorry,
this was the replay. Yep, indeed.
And yeah, so he tried to go for the move on Thompson, didn't he? I don't really know how Evdotka messed out in that.
I think it was the other way around, actually. I think it was somehow he got ahead, and Thompson was just sort of up the inside, and
right, yeah.
They turned, and I think poor Evdotka managed to collect them.
Yeah, Michael Bear, may I say it, maybe had the rub of the green last season in the UV8, but so far in this series, and actually last Monday on the World GT, everything's gone against him. Of course, UV8 does start again on Saturday evening. Certainly tune in for that one, but for now, it's Gavenku leading the way with Thompson 2nd. And last time at Kota, in both the World GT and this series, we saw the BMW actually hold its own down the straight. Do you think that's because of maybe a small change that iRacing have made, or do you think it's just that these BMW drivers have very much got used to having to trim out that car just to keep up down the straights?
I think it's probably a bit of both, if I'm brutally honest. I feel like yeah, the drivers will get used to it and know how they have got to set the car up and whatnot. So, but maybe there's been some balancing going out, hasn't there, on iRacing's part as well, and I think that's probably making a little bit of difference too. Oh, very wide in the chute. And snap for O'Connor. Car just did not appreciate that through there at all. cook the rears. They're battling behind as well. Is that Steve Burke and Scott Malcolm? Scott Malcolm leading the rookie series.
I don't think he's a rookie. He's not, because when you look at all those other drivers, they're not rookies, I think. I'm doubting the system, to be honest.
We'll have to get some confirmation on that.
Yeah.
Chaz Draycott and Lee Woodburn. I think the thing is what you've got to understand is that the system generates the class based on results, so you can change. I think the class can change a little bit. So if you haven't done a race, then it takes a little while to assign you to a class, and then you get assigned. So what you've got to remember is for our overlay, overall equals pro. So to be in the listings, they've got to be classed as some sort of class. So rather than not assigned, they're actually in as pro at the moment. So overall.
Right. Okay. Scott Malcolm, rookie or not, he is up 10 positions currently. He's been kind of the big mover so far. Stephen Burke has gone up 7 positions. He's just behind. And O'Connor just going for a move, actually, on Robinson, just ahead of this. And Evdoka down the inside of Cullinan. So, and yeah, Robinson, I think, just lost out to O'Connor. So O'Connor, after that mistake, I think, coming back at his rival. Fortunately, not too much damage for him, but Evdoka back up into P7. He's got 1.8 seconds to catch up to Delmar, although he's got to make sure of this move, apparently, because the BMW's looking to come back. Evdoka a little bit wide, but that's kind of the line that you want, and he should be able to get a good drive off that corner and pull away ever so slightly.
Yeah, it's those kind of corners where the BMW is going to be really, really strong. You know, those sort of medium speed corners carry a lot of extra speed through there. And, of course, if you're too close, you can't use it, but you need to be close enough to get the run, to get back alongside. And it didn't quite happen for Rafe that time, but I'm not going to count him out of this one by any means. I'm surprised how close the front grouping are still. You know, Gafenku leading from Thompson, then Smith, Lavelli, and not too far behind them as well. Warmingham, going for a move on Lavelli and through. I think that's sort of teammates, is it? Working together and letting the pass happen there.
Yeah, seemingly. Steve wasn't really making an impact, was he? So, yeah, interesting tactics there. Maybe they feel as though Richard, who had such a good end to last season, didn't quite get into the showdown, but that was just because he missed a couple of like one too many rounds, I think. So he would have been potentially the champion last season if he had qualified for that. Got a run of pole positions and race 1 victories, but it's kind of race 2s and the race 3s where he's had to make his way up through the field, which cost him ever so slightly. He's reliable as Richard, but maybe not quite got that killer instinct when it comes to making the overtakes. But he's going to need that killer instinct to make these overtakes, of course. He's 9/10 behind Anwar Smith. And here is Chaz Jacob. And he looked to the inside. He can go for a bit of a sneaky move here, but you've got to trust that the car ahead is going to take the wider line. Once again, got decent drive. He's stuck behind Stephen Burke currently, with Scott Malcolm just ahead. Chaz up 3 positions from his start, which is a few less than the drivers around him. But yeah, struggling to make the move stick currently.
Don't often see the cockpit cam, do we? It's often sort of go-to roll bar, and if I'm complete, just because I made a mistake. But you know, I think actually it's a camera angle that we should use, because it's quite good to get a driver's eye view. They're trying to emulate it somewhat in real racing now with the helmet cam, aren't they? That's just above the driver's eyes. So, well, we don't need to. We've got it already. Oh, why for Chaz? And yeah, from that view, there was not an awful lot of room left to the left-hand side of that Audi.
It's one of those corners where the stubborn drivers will quite often crash, because you get on the power, and yeah, of course, if you're stubborn, you'll never get off it again, and that can cause you to understeer into the wall. But just there, ever so slightly lifted off. I think that was just about enough for him not to hit the wall there, and that would have been a lot of steering damage. Just ahead, Burke going for the move on Malcolm. So Malcolm's struggling to drive away from these guys. They are catching up to the driver just ahead, and Burke goes to the inside now. This is our first impression. What's faster? And it's seemingly Burke could not make that move particularly close, although he'll look to the inside now. Really good switch over, but again the outside line is strong through this part of the circuit, and they'll go down to the toe now, and really it's the inside line that you want for this corner. Jacob trying to get involved, but for now those 4 cars just stay lines firm.
He's got to be careful, of course. It looks like it's his teammate that is behind him, and we'll just make sure we have got the latest liveries on there. But yeah, the two thrust vector cars, and through goes Burke on Malcolm through the hill. Good move there, and actually Malcolm now right under the cosh again. Oh, he's just losing the rear. He collects it back up, and I think it was Lee Woodburn who had to get out of the gas there. Carl Hardy right on the case as well. So yep, this little battle here continues.
Yeah, fantastic little gaggle this. Yeah, some 6 cars, all very close, and just a car behind as well. Carl Hardy, yeah, just watching Malcolm and Woodburn go to battle. But it's really close just ahead as well. Burke is only 1.5 tenths ahead of Jacob. It's all going to be very close down this back straight coming up. And Chaz goes to the inside then. Side by side with Stephen Burke. And has he got the overspeed here down the inside? Can he just push Burke out? And in fact, Burke kind of backs out quite early. And that's a very, very successful move there from Chaz Jacob. Once again, flashing the lights quite a bit. I don't know if he's listening to us.
Yeah, possibly. And yeah, I think just trying to put off Colin really ahead. It's funny, I've mentioned it before, but you know, there's some settings that you can have in iRacing. If you've got them turned on, you cannot see, or turned off, should we say. You can't see the flashing lights at all. So, and it's kind of one of those things that I just think, well, you know, it's an annoying little setting, so I'll turn it off anyway.
Oh, was there a little bit of contact there?
Never ever get distracted by it. You can flash at me all you like.
Or just side by side behind, but once again, yeah, he's going to go down the inside there.
Nice.
Is Jacob.
Similar place as well, where he got Malcolm having to defend from Woodburn.
Lovely. Yes, yeah. I see he had an off track, and he's had more than that. He's had a 4X, I imagine, because he's hit the wall pretty hard there.
See what happened. Oh, just got on the outside edge, didn't he? Bang, that's going to be race over for sure. A lot of sport today. What did people think of the Grand Prix? Have you watched it? Did you enjoy it? Let us know in the chat. And any questions or anything like that you might have. But
are we allowed to spoil it?
Well, yeah, we're not necessarily going to spoil it. All I'm asking is, have you watched it? Did you enjoy it? That was the kind of thing. So it's been a long time since we've been at Paul Ricard, of course. And yeah, as we are BSR, and there's a lot of British or English fans that run in this series. How about that for a World Cup result as well?
Yeah, I must say, yeah, Paul Ricard, it's a decent circuit, isn't it? But going a little bit off topic here, it does frustrate me how they got the chicane, because apparently the DRS and the fast corner after the long straight, I don't really understand how they can't, why they don't just not have DRS there, you know? Then you don't have artificial passing, and you've got a great overtaking spot where you can have 2 wide through a 200-mile-an-hour corner potentially. But there you go. But yeah, good result earlier on for Panama, of course. Still, Thompson staying pretty close to Gafenku, 1.15 seconds between the two of them. Warmingham really has dropped off. I don't know, if, Alex, if you saw something, but as Warmingham just struggling for pace, because in that last lap he was 4 tenths faster, but all of a sudden he's 4.5 seconds behind the next car. If anything, going to be under pressure from Michael Abdocca if he's not careful.
No, I've not seen an off track or anything on the event viewer to sort of indicate why it'd be having some sort of issues out there. But like you say, yeah, just drop back a sizable amount. New fastest lap of the race for Richard Gafencu that time by. So he is, yeah, he's really going for it. Yeah, just looking back from Richard's wing, see if Thompson can get closer. It's interesting. First sector, Thompson slower, which is what we would expect. Second sector, just a fraction quicker. Third sector, I think we've just finished. A little bit slower again. Thompson quicker in the fourth sector. Again, purple through that one, so really starting to pick up some pace now with this cooler weather. Tyres are not going off, fuel loads are coming down. And in the final sector, well, let's see what they do. Who's going to have the quickest lap this time? Comes up on your screen on the tower. So a 41.5 and it's 41.8. So Richard absolutely flying. Like, he's come on leaps and bounds, Sam, in the course of just a few weeks in these GT cars. And you can just tell that because Thompson is no slouch. Of course, he won his first race in the World GT Series last week.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, anyone who caught the last season of this series, the round at Suzuka, Josh was some second and a half faster than every other car. So it really does show how quick Richard is and how he's managed to repel that attack with ease currently. Arguably a track which wouldn't suit the BMW, but you know, swings and roundabouts, and there are parts of this circuit which do favour that car, so surely can't be playing too much of a role. Still, this battle really close from Jacob, who's actually been able to pull away a bit now, but really Burke to Hardy, who are riding on board with now, all very, very close. And Glitchell is actually in the middle of this, so Glitchell is consistently about a second a lap faster than these guys, and he's making his way through this field.
Yeah, that was obviously after the incident that he had at the start of the race. But yeah, doing well, coming back at him. One to look forward to. If it's not Sven, Glatzel, as we know, and it is someone new. Well, someone new who's quick. This is what we want to see in these BSR leagues.
I think Connor might have an issue.
Past Scott Malcolm there as well. Was Elaine, did you say?
O'Connor. He just lost out to Jacob. And yeah, I think he had a small off basically, but I don't think it was a massive issue for him. There we go. Oh, it was quite a big issue, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely cost him quite a bit of time there.
Couple of mistakes.
Now, Brian. I don't know.
He was pretty lucky not to get any steering damage earlier on, and maybe that's a little bit of karma for him.
Yeah, you're probably not seeing the chat right now, but come on, don't underestimate yourself. He's trying to say that he's not a talented driver. I've seen how he races that MX-5. Who would agree? Tell me on the chat. Brian Holmes a talented driver or not? Come on. Oh, we're still on a replay. That would help. Let's get back to the live.
Out in the lead, it's down to 0.7 of a second, by the way. On that last lap, Thompson was 0.2 quicker. We will try to catch the end this time. We've been a little bit bad last week for.
Well, this is probably going to be the final lap.
This will be the final lap, yeah.
They see. Right. That's the thing with the short races. They go so fast, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Smith 4 seconds back as well. You can see the gaps are sort of separated out on the mini map, and yeah, you got that big gaggle further back that we've been keeping a little eye on. But really, the front sort of 7 cars have separated out. Great job from Rafe leading the AM class as well.
Well, if Josh Thompson gets in range here, you know he will not hesitate to make the move. However, it looks as though it's going to take a mistake from Richard Kafenki to close in that half-second gap. There isn't an obvious overtaking spot from now to the end of the lap, but of course, Hootie managed to get the move coming out of this next corner at in the iRacing Grand Prix World Championship Series. And once again, Thompson's really close.
He's going to have to absolutely send one if he's going to do it. And I just don't think, and even Richard going a little bit defensive. Josh very late on the brakes. We know how good that BMW is. Oh, he gets a hell of a run, but there's just absolutely nowhere to go. Well, maybe there is around the outside. Car's a little bit out of control. The Merc just about maintains the lead. Has to go very, very defensive. And round the outside, that's going to leave the door open on the inside. Thompson, very, very late move. Think he's going to get this one done. It's going to be a drag race. It could be good for Richard. Of course, he's got the momentum. Brilliant. And well, there you go. How about that for a final lap of the race? Brilliant, brilliant driving. Really Mitchell de Jong, that's how you need to defend, apparently.
Looked as though Thompson had that one a couple of times, certainly having the inside for the final corner, but somehow Gafenki managed to respond. To be fair, Thompson was very courteous, just giving a car's whip, which was he didn't have to, did he? He that
could have run him out right up into the wall over the bumps, and then he would have had the extra momentum. So, but yeah, no, it's good.
So another bit of frustration for Thompson today after the earlier event, but he will really fancy his chances for the reverse grid later on. And has everyone crossed the line now, Alex?
I believe they have.
Awesome. Richard Kafenki takes the race victory. It's 4 from 4. What a brilliant start to the season for him. Of course, just needs to get into the showdown. I think he may have already accumulated enough points to ensure that. It's quite an incredible start to this season for Richard. Josh Thompson finishes in second. So nearly could have got that race victory. He'll be running that through his head a couple of times before the start of race 2. Anwar Smith finishes in third after starting in 7th. Good drive from him. Richard Warmingham in 4th. Michael Abdoka, good recovery from him. He dropped down to about P8. He recovers to 5th. Bart Daleman finishes 6th. Rafe Cullinan from 15th to 7th. Chaz Draycott 16th to 8th. Really good drive from him. Lane O'Connor in 9th after making a couple of mistakes. Stephen Burke 19th to 10th. Colin Robinson in 11th. Then Sven Glatzel 12th. Scott Malcolm 21st to 13th. Carl Hardy in 14th. There's Lee Woodburn. Steve Leverley after an issue for him. Jamie Ayres, Anthony Jacobson, Ronald Moons, Max Wright must have had an issue, and Michael Gray started a little bit late for the race. And Alex, I think we have the first reverse wheel of the day, or the only reverse wheel of the day.
Correct, we do. Let me get it up on the screen and give it a whirl. For those of you that don't know, of course, we have a reverse grid for race number 2. We spin the Wheel of Fortune, hence the cheesy music, and we see who's going to be on pole position. Well, it's 20th, so it's a pretty sizable one. So it's basically a full, isn't it?
Yes. So I think we'll be on pole position then, with Ronald Moons in 2nd. Perhaps a chance for Steve Leverley and Sven Glitchell to use their misfortune in that first race to perhaps mount an attack for the second race. And that second race will be with you in about 20 minutes time. We will see you then.
chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher Demery at the line.
Welcome back to the BSR Grand Tour on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me on the cameras is Alex Simpson, and we are back here at Watkins Glen for race 2 of the evening. 20 minutes of action coming up for you. There's a 20-car reverse grid, which is a full reverse grid for us, and yeah, that's going to be a big challenge, isn't it, Alex, for the front runners, who seem pretty established. There seems to be quite a divide between the front runners and the midfield, but they're going to really struggle to make up all the way through the field. But we could have a surprise winner from the near back of the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sizable enough grid and short enough race that that could happen. We've got some overcast conditions out there, just out on screen, 18 degrees, so very, very cool conditions. So tyres, again, will be relatively safe. I don't expect them to go off at all through the course of this race, so they're not going to have to worry about that. And of course, we know we can sort of double stint them in an official series race, so we could get like 2 hours out of them. So really, 20 minutes shouldn't be a problem in this condition. So yeah, they can absolutely go out there and hammer them to bits.
Yeah, and I'm sure they will do, I think. And yeah, of course, no point in hanging back out there. Every position matters. And yeah, of course, the fight for the showdown. First 9 rounds of this series will decide who gets into the showdown. Top 6 get in. And from then, the points will be all but reset, apart from bonus points for race victories earlier on in the season. And yeah, that will be a 3-race challenge for the top 6 to decide who will be the Season 2 champion. Which you could thank you, Alex. We've already talked about how much he has improved, but 4 races out of 4 this season. I'm sceptical about his chances in this race, to be honest, starting down in 20th position. But he's just been superb so far, and certainly has set the pace early on this season.
Yeah, absolutely, been a phenomenal start. I don't think he would have envisioned winning the top first 4, at the start of the season as well. So great job from him. Like you said, this will be a tough one. Thompson looked very, very quick. Thompson's very, very confident going through the traffic. So as long as he doesn't get caught up in anything, I would think Josh has got the best chance of beating him on this race, at least, no matter where they finish. So, but yeah, let's just wait and see, because anything can happen. Any kind of first lap shenanigans, and there's 5 or 6 places that suddenly come up for grabs in that first lap. And it could well open it up, because as we saw, that mid pack was very, very close in the last race. So I don't think the guys coming through are going to have to worry about coming through a little pack and then catching the next pack up and then coming through again. I think it literally is going to be a line of cars that they're going to come through.
Yeah, I think it will be like that, and we often see it with these reverse races. The front runners early on, at least, in terms of grid position, but maybe not the fastest drivers necessarily. They've got to kind of get the balance between letting the fast guys go and still not losing, letting the fast guys go, not to lose any time. But also, you need to put up fights as well. Do you think that just comes with experience, to kind of know when to pick your battles?
Exactly that. Yeah, the more track time you have, the more you're aware of exactly the gaps that you can go for, who you need to battle with, and things like that. And that was the same with any leagues that you're in. You got to get to know the people who you can race, who can you trust to sort of go around the outside, and who's going to leave you a little bit of room. And that just all comes with sort of experience in a league. And actually, that's why league racing is so much better than, say, official series racing, because you just never know who you're going to get with official series racing. And I'll just take a pure example of mine from this week, and that was that I was doing the Le Mans series, and I tried to go around the outside of an LMP1 car, thinking nothing of it whatsoever, and had massive overspeed, and he lost the car and just comes crashing into me, and I'm like, okay, had I known, like this is not particularly a reliable driver. You kind of give those a bit more room, and you just hesitate a little bit more and just wait, and you're a bit more patient and stuff like that. And that kind of thing happens. You're a bit more aware of that with the league stuff. There's a question just coming on the chat as well. from Carl Jansen about whether the GT Road Pro Series is going to be broadcasted this year. That's a very, very good question. The answer is I haven't got a Scooby-Doo.
The GT Road to Pro.
Yeah, it's the qualifying series. So I would
on?
imagine it would be. I think normally GSR do one. There's normally an Australian, like V8s, they do one, don't they? I don't know if RaceBot do any of the qualifying ones. Personally, I don't think we will do them. Only because of the length of time, and we've got a pretty busy schedule on anyway, and I don't think iRacing aren't really interested in paying for the official series stuff outside of I think RaceBot. So yeah, it's quite a bit of time to commit to it for nothing. So but yeah, maybe, who knows. So I think they were to come and approach us and say, oh, could you do it? I think we probably would for some return.
Yeah, it would be some good promotion, wouldn't it? But
Yeah, even iRacing credits, I think we could get it through. Do you know what I mean? If they give us what it's worth in iRacing credits, I think would be interested. So maybe you guys can suggest them our way.
And yeah, we would appreciate that. But of course, as you said, Alex, we have got a very busy schedule because Sunday evenings we've got this series, and then Monday evenings, of course, tomorrow will be the World GT Round 2. On Tuesday will be the BSR MX5s. Wednesday,
you're forgetting the Rickmatic series as well. That's on Monday night or Tuesday at 1:15 in the morning. Don't worry. So we're me, Adam, and me and Adam at the moment, and Andrew sometimes up very, very late for that one. But yeah, then it is the Tuesday for the BSR MX5s. Wednesday, of course, the Le Mans series now, which is proving extremely popular, and I hope we're going to make that a permanent fixture rather than doing like RaceBot's Prime Time where we jump around from season to season. I think I'd rather just sort of make that a permanent fixture. We'll wait and see on that one. Obviously Thursday BSR TC Pro Series. Friday, we have a Friday off now, so you know if they were doing Friday races, then maybe. We've got a slot there. Saturday's V8 Supercar, and of course we do the World Championship Apex Streams now as well. So I believe there's a chance that we're hoping to do a league a little bit earlier on in the day on Saturday as well. Won't go into too much detail about that at this early stage because nothing's really been discussed. But I hope we pick that one there as well. So. Yeah, there's a few others coming on as well. So there is lots and lots and lots going on here.
I've just got another 40 seconds of this session to go, and then it might actually go on for another couple of minutes. So I don't know why they haven't advanced the session, but they hung. Yeah, will be a good event, this one, I think.
I'm just actually going to get the information on the series, as someone was asking.
Yes, what does RK stand for? That's the question.
Okay, if you head to that website, actually, you'll find a little bit more information. Don't quite know why it's not on the normal BSR hub, actually.
We are now gridding up. We've got another pace lap. I can never remember if it's a stationary lap or not. But Max Wright is on the pole position, so we didn't expect that. Or did we? Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yep. With Ronald Moons in second position on the front row. Aston Jacobson starts in third with Jamie Ayres in fourth. And Steve Lovely, he'll be looking to come back after a disappointing race one where he was involved in an incident. Lee Woodburn in sixth. Carl Hardy seventh. Scott Malcolm eighth. Jason Plato starts in ninth with Colin Robinson 10th. Stephen Burke in 11th. And then Lane O'Connor starts in 12th position. That's Chaz Jacob. We'll be rooting for him, of course, our co-commentator. Rafe Cullinan in 14th with Bart Delman. 15th, that's Michael Docker. Richard Warmingham and Will Smith, 3rd position in race 1. Josh Thompson, 2nd position in race 1. Richard Kapenki, 4 out of 4 so far for him this season, with Michael Gray just behind. Brian Holmes, 22nd, who is a good driver. We repeat, Brian Holmes is a good driver. And whatever he says. And yeah, he'll be starting from 22nd with Kip Stevens. Good to see him along with us in 23rd position. He rarely takes part in the first race for some reason, but he will be joining us for this second race of the evening.
Yeah, a couple of new faces. Obviously, Jason Plato. It's not the real Jason.
I think that's just a renaming, though, isn't it?
It is as well. It's Stephen Baxter in that one as well. So we will. I'll tell you what I'll do on the pace lap. I should be able to very, very quickly correct that. He says. Who else have we got joined us for this one? Brian as well.
Of course, Michael Gray had an awful first race. He started only about 3 laps after I think rest of the field started. So, yeah, was not good for him whatsoever. And yeah, we'll be hoping to see him rise to the field. Of course, the finishing results of this race will determine the start, so the grid positions for the final race of the evening. So, yeah, very important this for the drivers to finish high up. It's not like race 1 where, if anything, a poor race 1 can help you in race 2. It's completely different in this second event. They need to finish up high in the field to have a chance of a good result in race 3.
Someone off on the grass there. Not sure who that was.
So Max Wright, been pretty solid so far this season, or at least had a good coat around. Has been a driver who has improved me from the Audi to the Mercedes that he's now in. But he'll be looking for his first race victory of the season. I think he failed to get a podium last season as well. So this could be a really successful day for him if he can just convert that pole to a race victory or a podium. Of course, we saw in the first race, Josh Thompson straight away losing the race lead. Will this be a similar circumstance out there this time? He's just got one corner to go until he'll be able to floor the throttle. And Max Wright, when will he go? The green flag's out. And he's already away now. Oh, big crash in the background. And that's a couple of cars out already. Thankfully, they didn't bounce out onto the circuit. But Max Wright has got a good start. Ronald moves. Oh, it's 3 wide going into turn 1. I think that was Anthony Jacobson making a move. But he hasn't really been able to profit from that. Steve Labelli is up 3 positions already. More contact in the background, I think. Let's see if they're flying up through the hill. No, a BMW's round. And somehow they haven't crashed before. I think they have now. And we might have a pile up here. Just a couple of cars involved. I think that was Anthony Jacobson again. So it must have brewed near the start of the near the front of the field. A couple of cars already in big trouble. But it's Max Wright away in the lead.
We'll get a replay of that at some point, and we'll once it settles down a little bit out there, I think, if it does. But yeah, it was initially Stephen Baxter and I think it was Hardy that were involved in something. Or Moons that were involved in something right at the very start. It's those two, and then yeah, looks like we've got Hardy, Cullinan, Jacobson, and Lee Woodburn involved in that secondary crash. Nowhere to go. The Armco beckoned them all, and yeah, unfortunately collected more than was just initially involved.
Oh, down the inside for the BMW just behind. I think that was Josh Thompson, and actually a bit of contact with Lane O'Connor there. Down the inside goes Anwar Smith, I think that is. All these drivers have had brilliant starts. Abdoka up 11 positions, Jacob up 9, Thompson up 12 now that he's made that move on Malcolm. That was a great move, and yeah, brilliant start for Thompson. Malcolm, the only driver in the field who's remained where he is, along with Max Wright, who has retained that race lead, sorry, on that opening lap, but Steve Lavelli is very close. And I think your hypothesis about just a long chain of cars which the big guns have to make their way through, Alex, that certainly seems to be how the pack has formed so far.
Yeah, exactly. I fully expect that. Even with the crash, actually, it somewhat happened as Michael Evdoka has a little look here on Chaz Draycott. Draycott flashing his lights at, I think it's, is it Burke ahead? For some reason, Burke's livery's not showing this time. It was to us for the last race, but apparently not happening this time. But yeah, he's actually under pressure from Michael there, and side by side actually now, because that is Anwar Smith trying to get in on that action.
Yeah, just left himself vulnerable there, didn't he, Michael Evdoka? Can he go back down the inside of Anwar Smith? Anwar Smith opens the door, and he was almost asking to be overtaken there. You got to really cover that one off, because it was pretty simple for Evdoka in the end. Now, does he have the run down here? Thompson trying to get involved as well. He's not going to make that one 3 wide, but he'll be looking to gain at least 1 position in the next couple of corners. Evdoka hangs on, and still not covering off the inside. Now he does. Can Smith slither down the inside? Not quite. Round the outside goes Thompson. He's already made a move around this corner last time. He likes this overtake. Down the inside goes Thompson. Can't quite make it. There was a change for the lead. Lavelli now leads past Max Wright. That was at the end of that straight.
Let's just get that up on screen so we can see exactly how he did that. So good move. Just got the draft, didn't he? And up the inside. Right, not defending it too hard. He's got a bit of a buffer, so it kind of makes sense if you feel like you're a fair bit slower than Steve to just try and hold on. Oh, it's close through this. Just Draycott on Burke. And Evdoka just behind.
Gonna be 3 wide going into this next corner, and 2 wide just behind. This is absolutely fantastic. In the end, Jacob having to back off and almost going into the Audi. He has gone into the Audi, and Smith has got nowhere to go, somehow avoids. And in the end, it's Evdoka who moves up into P3. Jacob is hanging on against Thompson.
Oh,
who's got a Mercedes off on the inside.
So yeah, Richard Warmingham's slow. I'm not really sure exactly what happened to Richard. Did he get collected in something? Let's have a look.
Ah, he hit him, yeah.
Oh, bosh.
It wasn't a big hit, was it? Or it wasn't nose on, it was just on the corner, wasn't it? Where you
unfortunately, I think that's probably what brought his race to an end, actually. If it was, you know, full face on, I think he might have survived that one. Evdoka up the, well, not up the inside. He's defending from Josh Thompson. These guys up 13 and 15 places. Jacob behind.
No, he's not.
Just about saved it.
That's a frustrating one for Chaz, because he was having an awesome run, gaining about 10 positions from his start position. In fact, I think he was up 12 positions, but a mistake there has really cost him now. Evdoka's got to hang on to this one, because if Thompson gets past, you feel as though Thompson will be able to easily pull away. They are catching up to Max Wright ahead. Steve Leverley already 2 seconds out in the lead, and I must say, Leverley, it's a difficult one because Thompson's only 4 seconds behind him, but if Thompson can get this one over and done with quickly, you feel as though Leverley's going to be a sitting duck later on.
Even with all the battling that went on with these guys on that lap, they still managed to put faster lap in than Steve in the lead as well. So you have to feel with clean racetrack ahead of them. Thompson just a bit too aggressive going in, manages to catch the slide, and tyres will be a little bit goosed for a half a lap or so here. So you have to be a bit careful that he doesn't just go and do exactly the same thing again. But held on to it. Smith wasn't close enough to capitalise after he had to die out the way the previous lap.
Brilliant start to this race too. Really close actually. Big gaggle from about 9th to 13th with Draycott just at the back of it after his mistake earlier on. And yeah, you can just see that in the background, a couple of cars side by side as well. And yep, 2 by 2. Holmes down the inside. He starts near the back. He's up 10 positions up into P12 now. But still side by side. Going into the penultimate corner and just about pulling ahead is Chaz Draycott, and Robinson's off the circuit.
Yeah, it comes back on. Not too many dramas there. Could have been a lot worse. We saw the last race. You go just a little bit wide, you can end up in the wall. Richard Kafenku puts in the fastest lap of the race that time by a 1:41.193. So he's closing up on O'Connor. Oh, they're all the different lines through turn 1. That was Kip Stevens behind in the Martini Mercedes AMG there. Scott Malcolm and Lane O'Connor go to into battle then. This is for 6th place. Got Richard just behind, so they don't want to hold each other up too much.
Oh, out wide there is O'Connor on round, and he's going to be into the wall as well. That's going to be pretty heavy damage. Should be able to get back away though. And yeah,
blinked at the worst possible time for him there as well. I don't know if there was some net code involved or what went on there. That's a shame for Lane.
Doc is going to be passed right very soon. I think there's only quarter of a second between the two of them. And Thompson's just behind as well with connection issues.
Yeah, blinked out. Oh, he's back. Just see if Michael does get by, and then what I think we might try and do is get a little recap of the start of this race. Josh's connection is literally on the edge at the moment, so O'Connor we can see into the pits, but he jumped back to the pits, so he's just trying to see wow, the inside. Most people don't go through, do they, on turn 1, but Michael choosing to. Of course, he's vulnerable now to being slipstream straight back past by Max Wright.
Is there any interest in Wright fighting this? We wonder. Of course, we were talking about earlier on, you need to pick your battles wisely. And this maybe isn't a wise one to fight. Does just back off in the end. Thompson will be through very soon, I think, as well. How quickly can Thompson dispose of the Mercedes? Looks to the inside, does Josh Thompson. It's difficult to tell where he is.
I have no idea where he is.
Again, will he reappear? He has, and he's behind, I think.
Oh my god!
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you just can't race anyone when their connections like that, you know, so awful. I mean, Josh has got to be careful because, you know, it's not fair if he accidentally takes out Max. And, you know, for Max as well, he's kind of like, well, I've got no idea where you are, you know, all you can do is just do your own thing and drive your line out there and hope for the best. Right, let's take a quick look at the start of this one back. What was the main focus that we need to look at? Probably like, well, initially, Steve Burke, because he does get involved in something, I think with Woodburn or someone. So that's exactly what happened there. That was that Bosch. It was Woodburn that he got involved in. So let's have a look exactly what happened. So it was Jacobson, wasn't it? Just jumped away. They were side by side. Oh, he actually, Jacobson was the innocent victim there, wasn't he? He just got absolutely nerfed into the wall, and 4 cars got collected. A few managed to sneak through, even though there was contact. So, oh wow, heavy hit though.
Thompson has lost out, I think, to Anwar Smith, or is he in P3? I don't know. I'm just looking at the live timing currently. And yeah, he's going up and down all over the place. Michael Gray around the outside. And Thompson then is just behind Evdoka. So
I
Thompson did
wonder
manage
if
to make
Max
the move
even
on the
knew if he'd
right.
been overtaken there.
Yeah.
Apparently hearing on the chat, Josh is like, my internet's fine. No, mate, I'm afraid it's not. Oh, a little wiggle for Evdoka there as well. All the while these guys battle, it just gives Lavelli a chance to hold on to this victory as well. The gap's up and over 4 seconds now. Up
And
the
he's
inside.
going for it.
We've seen this move attempted the last race. Didn't get him by, and it hasn't got him past again.
Yeah, what do you think Evdoka's attitude here is? Do you think he's thinking, oh, go away, Josh, I'm trying to catch up to the leader? Is he fully concentrated and just hang on to this P2?
Well, yeah, I think he's only got eyes for Josh at the moment. I think he knows that he's going to come through. He'll want to try and hold on to it. And of course, if he can catch up to the leader, which I feel he can, even while these guys are battling to a degree, then he could go on and potentially win this one. So if he lets Josh pass, though, it's going to be very, very difficult for him. And yeah, Michael's not a driver that's just going to concede a position here. So around the outside, use the downforce of that BMW. He's going to have the inside for the shoot. Michael hasn't got the run at all. That's a great move and used all the advantages that the car has there to its full potential. Did Thompson. Great move.
Yep, now the chase is on. 4.4 seconds to catch and then to pass if he wants to take his first race victory of the season. Josh Thompson. It doesn't look like it's going to be 5 from 5 for Richard Gapenki. He's in P6, didn't get a brilliant start. Max Verstappen is under big pressure from Anwar Smith, and Smith has just made the overtake just behind these guys. So Smith will be... it's difficult to tell, but can Smith maybe catch up to Evdoka now? And yeah, go and get that podium? Or do you think those two are just too evenly matched for Smith to make up the time?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be difficult for Smith, if I'm honest. So just jump forward with Max Wright. He's had a pretty decent race. I mean, I know he's fallen down, but he is an AM driver after all. So we kind of expect some of the pros to get up to him, doing fairly reasonable lap times for him out there. That one he lost a bit as he was overtaken. But yeah, great job so far. Just sort of stay on board just for a moment to see if he closes back up to Smith. He won't get a run. He's just a bit too far back as well. And again, just a reminder for everybody, if you don't know what the little slashes and the colour indicators are, that's the class. So bright and green is the AM, and then we've got rookie drivers out there as well in the red, and the rest are kind of in the overall category for the moment.
So right, trying to keep up with Smith. Gapenki is only 6/10 behind, and of course Gapenki is one of, if not the fastest driver out here on track, and he'll be looking for still a P4. We've got 5.25 minutes to go in this race 2 of the evening. Still got one more to go. 35-minute race to round off this race, round 2 at Watkins Glen. And can Gapenki go for the inside hit? Yes, he can, into the heel. Right, trying to stay around the outside, and he will have the inside for this next one now. Can he go all the way around the outside, Gapenki? He can't really afford to lose much more time than this, and he's not going to get the run into the penultimate corner. He's going to have to wait till the pit straight, unless he goes for a banzai move down the inside hit. But no, we'll have to just wait for the pit straight, and hasn't lost too much time to Smith, still very much in sight. So he'll be, once he's got this one cleared, he'll be, yeah, right on the back of Smith.
Just looking at the mini-map, that gap hasn't come down a great deal from Thompson and Lavelli. I mean, it has, but not as fast as I think it needs to. There's a bit of traffic coming into play as well. That is P18, which is Anthony Jacobson, so he may have a bit of damage as we look at Gapenki going around. Oh, it was there outside, but cuts back. Cheeky little switch over there, and throws him a dummy and says, thank you very much, I'll take that. And nothing. Oh, they're into each other.
Can Gapenki keep it out of the wall? Oh, he's
He can, but
lost out
he's
big time.
won, and he's in a horrible place, and he's just going to have to wait. Yeah, reverse gear needed, never going to happen. I have to say, he didn't need to squeeze Max as much as he did there. There was not an awful lot of room available to the outside, and the move was done. Didn't need to pinch him as much as that.
So it's going to be anything but his fifth race victory of the season. We have a new race winner in this series. But will it be Steve Lavelli or will it be Josh Thompson? Thompson on that last lap, 4 tenths faster. We'll see what it is this time. Lavelli with a 41.45. Thompson will cross the line a 40.61. The gap is down to 2.25 seconds, and we've got 2 minutes 45 to go. We've only got this lap and one more. It's going to be, he's got to significantly improve on this pace if he's going to catch up to Lavelli by the end of the event.
Well, I think he'll be there right at the end. You know, he'll be absolutely on his tail. Whether he'll have an opportunity to make a move, I don't know. Of course, he will catch a bit of draft at the end of this lap, which will sort of hopefully help him pick up a bit of pace, and then the final lap he will get that run. But it's it's whether he can make the move, and he's already shown that he's not afraid to make a move on the very final corner. And if Lavelli's not alive to that threat that Thompson sort of poses there, gets himself all sort of mixed up and the pressure gets to him or something like that, he might not get the exit quite that Gafencu got on the last race. So it's not, I don't think it's done and dusted for Thompson. He did just run a little wide. I heard it, heard him using the grass there on the exit. But let's wait and see who else has had a good performance out there at the moment. The gains up on screen at the moment. So Thompson 17. Then we have Gray and Holmes also having really, really strong races, up 15 spots. Smith up 14 as well. So some good drives out there.
Yeah, most of those kind of moves were made in the opening lap or so when we had those couple of big crashes going through the first few corners, and that really enabled the drivers who started from the back, who were the front runners in the first race, to make up a few easy positions. So Docker just going very wide in the background. On that last lap, Thompson made up another 7 tenths of a second, down to 1.3, but this is the final lap of the race. Can he get just a bit of a slipstream? I'm looking at the live timing. He's actually losing time down the straight. He's lost half a tenth down this straight already, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a race victory. It looks like it's going to be another frustrating second place for Josh Thompson, and he'll rue maybe the couple of laps that it took to get past Michael Abdoka for it, because if it weren't for that, he'd be on the back of his rival by now.
Yeah, car's so good through there as well. The battle box comes up, which indicates that he's within a second, and we see the live delta between them, 8 tenths of a second now. It's going to be close, like I said, but it's not going to be far enough. Jacobson, I don't think it's going to come into play. He's right there, but it is the final lap of the race. The counter has gone past the 20-minute mark.
It's going to be Steve Lavelli. He's just got one more corner to go. Josh Thompson will give it his absolute all. But Steve Lavelli starts it in P5. He got a fantastic start, and he's going to take his first race victory in this series. A brilliant drive from Steve Lavelli to take race 2 here at Watkins Glen. Still really close between these guys. Michael Gray, it looks like he's going to hold on to P6, up 15 positions, just ahead of Brian Holmes, up 15 himself. Really good to see from those two. And just cycling through the field now. But really good drive, wasn't it, for Max? He had to make those moves early on, and whilst he didn't produce a massive gap, by the time Thompson managed to get up into that P2, it was too late, and Steve had full control of the race.
Yeah, exactly. Good. I mean, it was good for Lavelli. He got past Max right early, didn't he? And he was able to build that lead. And that's kind of what happens with these reverse grid races sometimes. You get someone there that can can sort of build enough of a margin, then they can, they can make it happen for them. And Steve, he didn't crack under the pressure. There's nothing worse than having a driver hunting you down 7 8/10 of a second a lap. For the last 4 or 5 laps, it's kind of, you start to look behind you and you lose some of your own pace then as well. But didn't do any of that, Lavelli, and picked up a win, which no doubt he'll be delighted about. First person other than Richard Gafencu this season to get on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, and he will start from pole position in that race 3. Although I don't think there's any question who's the favourite for that final race of the day, because Josh Thompson has been possibly the quickest driver out there. Maybe Richard Gafencu has been the quickest, but he will start way down the field in 13th position, so still a podium very much possible for him. But yeah, his first real dent in his season so far. But we can now take you through the final order. Steve Lavelli takes his first race victory of this series. Josh Thompson, another second place for him. Michael Abdoka, good drive to third, only 4.3 seconds off the race victory. Anwar Smith finishes in 4th from 18th on the grid. Max Wright, he did well, starting on pole, but 5th place for him. That's one of his best ever after doing the entirety of last season. Michael Gray finishes in 6th from 21st on the grid. Brian Holmes, 7th from 22nd on the grid, with Bart Delman in 8th. And Scott Malcolm 9th, Colin Robinson in 10th. It's Jason Plato, Chaz Draycott, Richard Gafencu after that incident near the end of the event. Stephen Burke, Kip Stevens, Jamie Ayres, Ronald Moons, Anthony Jacobson, Rafe Cullinan, Lee Woodburn, Carl Hardy, Lane O'Connor, and Richard Warmingham, after a crash for him, finishes in 23rd position. The final race of the day, like I said earlier, will be based on the finishing results of this race, and that will be with you in about 20 minutes time for a 35-minute race to round off round 2 here at Watkins Glen. Welcome back for race 3 of the evening in the BSR Grand Tour on Apex Racing TV. I'm Sam Fitzpatrick, and back alongside me is Alex Simpson for the final race of the day of this round 2 at Watkins Glen. And of course, first 2 races, Alex, Josh Thompson has finished in 2nd position. However, he will feel very frustrated if he finishes in 2nd in this race, because I think he's the big favourite. Richard Kopenko really the only driver who's been able to stick with him on pace today, and he's starting low down the field whilst Thompson is starting from 2nd. This is surely his one to win.
Well, you would think so, absolutely. Been very, very strong. Probably the quickest driver out there all night, even though Richard won the first race. Thompson obviously had some battles early on, so he had to catch back up and was right there at the end. So, yep, I can see us having a thrilling final race, but I would think Josh is going to run away with it a little bit.
Yeah, this final race of the evening usually, or sorry, rarely disappoints. It's even though you tend to have the faster drivers near the start, near the front of the field. I think with the strategy factor put into this event, it should still be a very good one to watch. 35 minutes, of course, and at the starts of the 35 minutes should be Steve Lavelli, the race 2 winner, leading the way. Josh Thompson will be starting in 2nd with Michael Evdoka in 3rd. Then Anwar Smith starts in 4th with Max Wright in 5th. That's Michael Gray, Brian Holmes, Bart Delman, Scott Malcolm and Colin Robinson rounding out the top 10, with Jason Plater in 11th. Chaz Jaker, our co-commentator, in 12th. Rich Kopenko, watch out for him. Race 1 winner, he'll be roaring through the field. He starts in 13th. Stephen Burke starts 14th with Kip Stevens 15th. Next, Jamie Ayres, Anthony Jacobson, Rafe Cullinan, Lee Woodburn and Carl Hardy rounding out the top 20. And that's Lane O'Connor and Richard Warmingham, the 2 teammates, starting from the back row of the grid. Of course, Lavelli has driven extremely well today, Alex. And that first race, I think he had an issue early on. In the end, it worked pretty well for him. I think he'll be quite glad about that, because it put him high on the grid for the 2nd race. But even then, he really showed himself as perhaps being the 2nd quickest driver in that race. So if he can keep the lead early on with maybe the pace, maybe with the straight line difficulties of the BMW, maybe he could challenge Thompson for the race victory.
I don't see it, frankly. I'll be a realist
I'm trying
here.
to convince people to stay around to watch this.
I'll be a realist here and say, yeah, the battle. Really, Thompson's going to disappear. Anwar Smith maybe could go with Thompson. Lavelli is going to have his hands full with Doka and Smith very, very early on in this one. But yeah, I feel like all the racing action is going to be in and around the top 5. Going to be a few positions changing places there. Some of the faster guys still going to come through. So pack's going to be interesting, that's for sure. But I think the race win, unless he messes it up or his internet explodes on him, it's going to be Josh Thompson's.
Yeah, and we can rely on Josh to give us an interview at the end of the race. So we will almost certainly hear his insights post this 3rd race of the evening. And yeah, it will be fascinating.
I'd like to say there's a good split of cars out there right now, but there really isn't. When we look at the logos up on next to the driver's name on the tower, really is very much a Mercedes orientated series, and that just seems to be the way of things at the moment. Car is very, very strong all-rounder. The BMW, of course, is very, very quick, but has its weaknesses and you have to drive around them. But if you're comfortable doing that, you can do it. A few Audis, which still shows the Audi's got a lick of pace out there. No Ferraris whatsoever on this grid, which does surprise me. And yeah, no McLarens either. And the Ford GT, not even sure that's a thing in the GT series anymore, but none of those either.
No, and it's a bit unusual not to see any Ferraris, because I think the majority of the races that we're visiting this season are kind of low downforce circuits where maybe the Ferrari would be able to show its pace. But yeah, like you said, no Ferraris out there. Instead, quite a few BMWs. But yeah, Merc absolutely dominating the field. He'll be dominating the field out there today. We do have a feeling that it could be Josh Thompson, but hasn't won both races this evening, and he's had opportunities to win both. This certainly his best chance. Remember, he lost the his pole position. He lost the race lead on the restart. He'll be hoping that Steve Lavelli does the same thing in this race 3. Michael Abdoka and Anwar Smith will know that if they're going to challenge for the race victory, they've got to challenge the BMW starting second straight away. But it's Steve Lavelli rounding the final corner. When will he put down his foot and accelerate away? And he's already gone, and it's a nice little jump from Steve Lavelli. And in the BMW of Thompson hanging on to second, Smith and Abdoka side by side. Abdoka just about going down the inside. It could be side by side going up the hill. Not too many issues in the background. And in the end, it is Smith who just got the better run coming out of turn 1. And he pulls ahead of Abdoka. Now, how close is Thompson to the back of Lavelli? How much has he trimmed out that BMW? He is very, very close coming down the back straight. Will he be close enough to go for the move? He may go to the outside here. Thompson holding on to the lead still is Lavelli. To the outside goes Thompson. He's going to swoop round the outside potentially. And round goes Lavelli, the race leader. He's lost it at the end of the back straight. Horrible for Steve Lavelli. Such a fantastic result in the first race. And here is the replay. Just felt the pressure from Thompson. There was no contact whatsoever. And round he goes. So frustrating for Steve. And he's that's a good result down the pan for him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate these things can happen early on, and I'm glad to say that wasn't our commentator.
Oh, we got a couple of cars in the background.
Crash. That's Lee Woodburn involved again. Just can't seem to get out of that. Antti Jacobson as well. Bosh right at the end there. And who's that? Oh, I thought he was going to take someone else. Kyle Hardy involved as well. Kip Stevens sneaked through. It was Lee Woodburn who to get through. So, that was unfortunate. Rafe Cullen started this race from the pits. So, yeah, a bit of shenanigans going on out there.
Yeah, it was clean through the opening few corners. We've gone through this whole day really without a massive pile-up. Had a small one in race 2. And there's a move then. Scott Malcolm losing out to, or nearly losing out to Bart Delman. In fact, Delman's lost out to Plato. Round the outside goes the BMW, and he will be able to pull ahead by the end of the hill. We'll have the slipstream now. Will the BMW, can he challenge Malcolm? He's kind of been defending throughout today. Could be 3 wide here. Will Delman go down the middle of these two? It could be the ideal line. And he does just peek down the middle. Wasn't really the space, and Malcolm loses out to Plato, although he might be able to sweep round the outside. Again getting involved just behind is Delman, and Malcolm trying to fight back. He's got the inside line, maybe not the preferable line, and Delman will still try to get the move on Malcolm, heading down into the toe.
Yeah, Bart up the inside. Malcolm just a little bit deep. He's opened the door just a little bit. Baxter, who is Plato, is gone and through, but still Malcolm holds on. He's now got Gafenku right there as well behind, and I think Daleman is more switched to a defensive posture and can't do it. And around the outside goes Richard, instantly starting to look up the inside of Malcolm as well.
Up 3 positions is Richard Gafenku. It's not going to be another race victory, and Brian Holmes has had an issue, and yeah, he's into the wall. And I would not be surprised if that's the same mistake that we saw earlier on today, the same mistake that we see so often round this circuit.
Yeah, well, let's have a look, see what happened. Did he just dip a wheel over the edge of the, or did he? No, he lost it on the way in, very early. Bang, heavy hit as well. New front end for that Mercedes, please.
So Wright still having to defend side by side just ahead of them with Max Wright and almost contacting the background there.
That's good.
Robinson
Finkel
goes
and
down the
Malcolm.
outside.
Yeah, Richard goes through that time as well. Right.
Yeah, so Finkel up into 5th. And actually losing a couple of positions there was Max. Max Wright hangs on to 6th, so he could now lose the position though to Jason Plato. Down the inside, I don't know how Plato has got so close to these guys so quickly. Down the inside he goes, and Wright just about loses out the pole sitter in race 2. That's part of the reason why he started so far in this race, but you can expect to see him lose a couple more positions later on in this race. But for now, he has lost out to Jason Plato.
Just a message to Stephen, just a reminder, mate, to change the name back on all of the series that you enter, because as you can tell, it confuses our commentators because they can't see the overlay quite like I can. So, yeah, I can see you called Stephen Baxter, and that's because I've put a name override in there, mate. So do remember to swap it back, please.
I just won't talk about Stephen for the rest of the race to avoid that issue. However, I think he could be in the heat of battle. We can see a fantastic train of cars, some 8-9 cars all in a line. Out in the lead, by the way, Josh Thompson is 3 seconds clear of the rest of the field, and you can see he's driving off into the distance as we suspected. Anwar Smith, his closest rival, 3 seconds behind. However, he was 1.2 seconds slower on that last lap. Michael Abdoka a further 1.25 seconds behind. I think we should go back to the big gaggle of cars, to be honest, because it is so close down there. Max Wright trying to fight back against Colin Robinson. Robinson out wide, and he's going to lose that one, and he could lose another position here, could Robinson. Side by side again though, with not
you lost there, aren't you?
Yeah. And I was trying not to say Plato, even though Plato was nowhere near. Yeah, sorry for that. And yeah, losing out.
Please, somebody make some kind of audio meme out of that bit, because that's just You sounded like the frog from back in the day.
Just won't speak now till the end of the race. Don't want another moment like that. Oh dear.
Chaz Draycott at one spot. He's got Bart Dalman just ahead of him. So Bart, really? Oh, that's Colin Robinson off as well. He's okay. But Bart, really, he's been really aggressive, but he hasn't got anywhere, has he?
No. He's kind of just lost out in these battles, hasn't he? It's a couple of 50-50s, and he's always been the 50 that has lost, unfortunately. He's just behind Scott Malcolm, who, always seems to be in 9th or 10th position, despite maybe not having as much pace as the cars behind, but his racecraft has been on point today, I would say. Again, coming back is Gafenka. He is going to make that move on right. He will go up into 6th place, although he will have to go around the outside here. And
momentum as he sweeps around the outside, just takes that second lane. Confidence that Max is going to keep it nice and tight, and good move done for Richard. Of course, he's got more places to gain on this one due to the fact that he had that accident, didn't he, in the second race. We also missed an overtake, and that was between Kip Stevens and Lee Woodburn for 14th place. I think Kip is going to go around the outside of Lee here, which is equally impressive as we saw Richard do, almost a carbon copy.
Yeah, we talked right at the start of the show how the outside line at that corner is very advantageous, and we've seen that plenty of times throughout today.
Yep, Scott Malcolm, again, as has been mentioned today, rookie driver, we believe that's what the RK stands, is doing a great job, 9th place overall in this race, but leading the class. And Max Wright actually having another great race, leading the class in the AM category, so could be a couple of wins for him. But Colin Robinson not too far behind him, so we do need to keep an eye on those two. See exactly how it will pan out.
Great chain of 4-5 cars here. And to the inside goes Daleman. To the inside of Malcolm. Draycott just behind these guys who will look to gain a position here. But yeah, through these corners you can just go side by side by side all the way through. And still trying to pull off the move as Daleman. But as long as Malcolm defends down here, he's not going to be able to make that one. And yeah, holds on for now. Chaz just dropping in behind.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to size something up. He's got a good run here, actually, as Draycott. So maybe he'll poke his nose to the inside, going into the hill. No, just couldn't quite get far enough alongside. And again, another good run. When he looked to the inside, he dives to the inside. But that's going to make him a little bit vulnerable to Richard Warmingham behind. Warmingham can't quite get the run. Has a little look, but got a lot of front-end damage, of course, after the accident earlier on in the race. Good driving from Malcolm, still holding on to this one, not too far behind the battle that's ahead. If he can just tag onto the back of them, that will help him. Steve Lavelli into the pits, first of the drivers to make a pit stop.
Yeah, he had damage early on, didn't he? So from that first lap incident, so no surprise that he's in. Side by side once again. Daleman got a lot of overspeed this time. Great on-board shot with him, and seemingly he's going to pull ahead going down into this next corner. He's got the inside line, maybe not the line that you want, and Draycott has gone with him. So Malcolm loses a couple of positions in just a single corner. And that was very well executed in the end by Daleman. Right, hung on against Robinson. That was the battle you saw just ahead. Those lot are still very close, and yeah, this is could be a 6-car battle very, very soon. In fact, it already is.
Yeah. Oh, as Draycott just disappears for a moment. You're going to change the car we're looking back on, because this is where it all starts now. It's all tucked up behind Max Wright. He's leading the AM category with rival Robinson behind. But that whole group now is just all in this train. You can just see them on the map snaking through. There's nothing between them, and you've got all classes of driver in that as well. You've got some pros, you've got some AMs, and you've got some rookies. Great to see.
Stephen Baxter did just make a move on Michael Gray, by the way, up into P4.
And here it is.
So another driver going for the turn one. Certainly seems to be a move pulled off by the BMWs more often than not, I think, just because they are so quick at the end of that final sector. Yeah, that kind of means that they're closest of all going in, coming out of the final corner. Evdoka's just got past Smith, by the way. Evdoka moves up into second position.
And there's that replay as well.
So he was a little bit behind here, it was Evdoka, but Smith gave in there quite early. To be fair, Evdoka was just mightily late on the brakes, wasn't he? So I was thinking maybe Smith didn't know that you could go around the outside there, but Evdoka, that's how you pull off that move down the inside.
Yeah, great move. I'll tell you what, there's another one that we need to have a look at that was a good battle, if I can get it on screen. And this is between Jamie Ayres and Richard Warmingham. They've exchanged position probably 4 times this lap. So let's just see what unfolds here. Round the outside then for Ayres on Warmingham. And Richard fighting back as well. Actually, I think at this point, Ayres could cover up, no problem. And actually, I think changes of position all happened very, very quickly. So the event viewer tricking me.
I wouldn't be surprised if something actually happens later on in this lap.
Oh, and actually,
Wow,
yeah,
big
airs
bumper.
through as well. So good move. Malcolm, unfortunately, dropping back now. Let's get back to the live action. Load of drivers into the pits as well. Max Wright, Stephen Baxter, Chaz Draycott, Richard Warmingham, all into the box. You can see them on the overlay right now. The larger of the time to the left is the pit lane time. The one in the box is how long they were stationary for as well. So you can get a good idea. So
Ooh,
Wright and Warmingham. Oh, well.
So
I think the nudge there that he got on the way through kind of helped him save it somewhat. Actually, I think his goose was cooked until he got that little tap. It just sort of straightened him up a little bit.
yeah, it was very helpful that. Because these guys got to be careful, because if they pit now, I think they come out somewhere close to Steve Lavelli, who's lapping some second a lap faster than them currently. So yeah, they will could come out in about 15th, 16th when they pit for their pit stop. Gafenki up into P4, so he must have recently got past Michael Gray, and yeah, he will have his sights set on Anwar Smith, who he's only about 4 seconds behind. Really good pace for Gafenki, and if anything, that P2 is still a very big possibility.
We see where the overtake happened. The inside, he was kind of late there, wasn't he? It's not like some of the others we've seen. Actually had to make the move happen, but didn't really fight it too much in the end. Did Gray. Go back to live, and we see Colin Robinson into the pits as well.
We expect a few drivers to get to kind of the half an hour mark before having to make their pit stop. Maybe the majority kind of 25 to 30 minutes into this race. So yeah, maybe wait for another kind of 5-10 minutes, probably 10 minutes until we see the majority of cars coming out, at least the front runners, we assume. But yeah, these midfield drivers certainly see an advantage pitting a little bit early.
So we are looking about maybe 2 to 3 tenths of a difference between Gafenku in 4th and sort of 2nd and 3rd right now. So that could potentially close back up. Obviously, we haven't seen too much of Josh Thompson. We'll bring him up on screen because he's just so far out in front now. 9 seconds is the gap that he's managed to build up. So he can pretty much pit whenever he wants. I imagine Josh will keep it going out because right now he's got clear track. And he just, you know, pitting early just brings him back into... Oh, my word! Oh. Well, there's a bit of a curse for you. Well, get that car backed up a bit sharpish. Here comes second place. And all of a sudden, the race is on because they're both through. Mistake, really, from Thompson. So, well, this is where that battle is going to be, that's for sure. And my curse may be coming through, David. You might have just called it.
I think Josh listens to the broadcast. Josh, if you're listening to us, could you just flash the lights? I've just forgotten, we're 20 seconds behind. But if we see him flash his lights any moment now, then that will indicate he can hear us. And yeah, I think he does. So yeah, that was a proper commentator's curse. And it's made it interesting, hasn't it? Because Richard Gafenku just behind us, the one guy who's been able to really challenge Josh today on proper pace. And now he's only 2.5 seconds behind. So if he can't get past quickly, Thompson past the top two, Gafenku will be right with them, and then we will have a proper head-to-head. Yeah, Gafenku could win this one from 13th on the grid. Certainly. I think this is the first time that Evdoka has led a race this season.
I think you're right, actually. I don't think Michael has been at the front. He struggled a little bit, didn't he, at Kota? And yeah, looking stronger here tonight, that's for sure. Much more where we're used to seeing him. So yeah, all of the top 4-5 cars literally in one shot there. That's great to see. And yeah, well, we've got 35 minutes of this race, and 20 minutes is just about up. So another 15 to go. Not long now. Really, that will soon flash by. Less than a sprint race. It's kind of funny that this is their equivalent to an endurance race, isn't it? 35 minutes.
Yeah. So Thompson, fortunately for Smith got a bit of a slipstream there. You can see how powerful that slipstream is. Smith closes up on Evdoka. Thompson just behind. He couldn't make that move down the back straight on that last lap. Gafenku was about 7/10 faster than Evdoka on that last lap. Now Thompson's really close, and he's gone to the outside, inside, and Smith hasn't defended it. And Smith will have to get the cut back here, but this is where Thompson is so quick, but he's got a bit of a rear slide on there. Smith will look to respond. Got to go to the inside here, Smith. Come on, go for it. No, he's not going to go for it. Thompson hangs on to second position for now, and he's just one car away from retaking that race lead.
Richard's hoping they really go at it the next couple of laps, I think, and cost them a second or two, because that will bring him right back into this one.
Evdoka's spent quite a bit of the second race with Thompson just behind. However, Thompson did manage to get past him after a couple of laps. Having to go defensive is Michael Evdoka. Thompson to the outside. How close can Smith get? He'll be in the slipstream, or strongly in the slipstream, or Smith, but he's not going to be right on the tail. Now, that BMW Parry is not going to have much of an overspeed, I think, at the crest. He's looking for any which way to get through. Evdoka will certainly defend the inside, I think. Thompson to the outside. They're side by side now. Smith just behind, trying to get the slipstream from Thompson. Evdoka on the inside. He pulled off a really good move down the inside here by just breaking super deep. He's got to break super deep this time, but it's not going to be deep enough because Thompson has gone straight round the outside. Now, Evdoka, can he go back to the inside? But no, Thompson's just too quick on the corner entry. And after that major mistake from Thompson a couple of laps ago, he has retaken that race lead with ease.
Yeah, Michael really needed to throw it in there on the inside, didn't he? Just so that he could keep his, keep the rear of his car ahead of Thompson. But Thompson super aggressive as well, and like we said last time he did that move, really using all of the advantages that BMW has to its full potential around the outside. So still pretty close out there though. We'll see what happens in the pit stops, of course, because anything can change there now with the top three being separated by about a second and 1.1 seconds now. Anything can happen. I mean, they're going to come in anytime soon. And I think Smith in. He's decided to jump in early. Gafenku carries on. Remember, Richard's up 10 places in this race so far. Fight his way back after accident in the second race.
Smith should be behind pretty much the entire field, or at least the drivers who haven't pitted. The final driver who hasn't pitted currently is Lee Woodburn, so I think he'll be quite a bit behind him, but ahead of all the other drivers who have pitted. Smith stopped currently and will be taking a bit of fuel, and back out on track goes Anwar Smith. Stephen Baxter almost side by side with him, and Baxter's already made a pit stop, so that's
pretty impressive.
A slow pit stop for Smith.
That is pretty good. I want to see what the difference is in the pit lane while you keep calling this action.
Yeah, Smith to the inside. Baxter feels as though he should make this one. He feels as though it's in his best interest to try to get track position.
Look at that.
Around the outside goes the BMW. As Alex has already said, using the strength, but big contact. He had to get back onto the circuit, didn't he, Baxter? But, I think we're going to have to see that on replay because, yeah, I don't really know how to interpret that.
Wow. It's almost a carbon copy of what Thompson did, but just wasn't quite enough room. You're right, he needed the room to be let on. I think Smith just needs to give him a room. I know you can push people off, but he was there. He needed just enough. He'll be a bit miffed at that one, I feel, Baxter. He was 4 seconds quicker in the pit lane. That was why they were on the same bit of circuit. Fortunately for Smith, it hasn't cost him any time. So Thompson in, Doka stayed out. So did Richard Venku as well. Let's sort of see what sort of time Thompson is. We're looking about 41 seconds in the pit lane. So it's going to be close to that. 41, 42, 43, 43.6. So a little bit slow, but not super slow. Obviously, there's Smith behind. But like I say, we have seen people do this pit lane in 41 seconds. So if Doka can do this pit lane 41 seconds, he could get back into the lead.
Yeah, and a bit more fuel now for Thompson. Could potentially compound his issues because, yeah, maybe it's difficult to tell. A little bit more fuel as he's got, it's going to make barely any difference. Maybe a tenth, even 2 tenths perhaps around a very much a straight orientated circuit. This Abdullah really be in this lap.
Venku getting closer and closer every lap as well. It was only 300ths of a second that last lap, but still closing in. 10 minutes to go. Yeah, Michael's in, and Richard coming in as well. So right, so the key time then, anything under, I would say 41 seconds, we'll see Thompson lose the lead again. And I have to say, if he loses it to Gafenku, which would be an immense pit stop from Richard, then Bart Damon also into pits. So let's just have a look at the times. We can see Thompson is the number 5 car on the map. So you can see here he comes on the outside. Oh, it's very slow for Michael. Very, very slow. Going to be close. Of course, it's shorter on the inside. And you do get a decent run. I think he might just have nicked it. 41.6, and Richard Gafenku right there as well. Thompson slots in between the middle of them. Thank you very much. We have a race on our hand.
So Abdoka once again ahead of Thompson. Can Thompson make the overtake on Abdoka for the 3rd time today? He's going to have some overspeed. Can Abdoka learn from the overtake just a few laps ago to this time be able to repel the attack? To the outside goes Thompson. Abdoka, is he deeper on the brakes? He is a bit deeper on the brakes. It might not be enough. Thompson round the outside, and he's going to have the inside for this one. He's going to make the overtake again. He doesn't make it easy for himself, Josh Thompson, but for now, he has got the race lead. Now, can Gafenku get past Abdoka? He's got to go for this move straight away, has Gafenku. He cannot afford to lose any time to Thompson. He's a little bit wide now through the toe, and Abdoka just about far enough ahead of Gafenku. Will he dive to the inside here? Going into the heel, I think he's just too far back.
You're right. Oh, well, that's good.
That's, round.
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, that's a shame for Michael there. We'll come back and see exactly what happened to Michael. But what it has done, that has allowed Thompson just scamper far enough away to break the slipstream, which I have to say would have been very, very key for Richard. There wasn't a lot of difference between these two in the first race. And had Gafenku managed to hold that draft, I think he might have been in with a shout at trying to put Thompson under pressure here. But let's take a little look back at exactly what happened to Michael, because he lost it one way, desperately tried to catch it. It went the other. Richard was alive to the situation, had to bail out of it massively on the brakes. Look at that. So I don't think there was any contact. If it was net code, but yeah, it was Richard really. Michael lost it on his own. That's a shame for Abdoka. He was having a really good race until then.
Yeah, he will. He's behind Michael Gray now. That's certainly a possibility for him to catch up to that one. That's 1.6 seconds he's got to make up. So maybe a top 4 for Abdoka, which would make this a decent day for him. We'll analyse the lap times between Thompson and Gafenku very closely, but I think, it's difficult to tell. We'll need to see what the lap times are this time round. but this has got to be some drive from Gavenki. He's only got 6 minutes to close that gap. It's not really about how much time he's got to close the gap, because the gap is so small. It's just a matter of fact of, has he got a pace advantage over Thompson? And judging by the performances today, seems as though Thompson just about has it in hand.
Yeah, the BMW is so much quicker well, not so much quicker, but a good tenth or so quicker in both Sector 2 and Sector 3 of the circuit.
Oh, he hit the wall.
The first sector is all about the Merc, as is the final sector as well. So I think every opportunity for Richard to come back at him, if he doesn't hit the wall like we just saw him do, because he was quite slow in that sector, and it's gone to 2.2 seconds. So I think unless I can royally curse Thompson again, the race is kind of done for the top two now.
Delman's just dropped a couple of positions. I wonder if he hit the wall as well. And you know what? He's very slow going into turn one. I think Bart Delman could be not out of this race necessarily, but pretty much out of competitive contention. We'll see what this one was like. And he lost it in the penultimate corner, and that was a massive hit for Bart Delman, and that's going to absolutely ruin his straight line speed.
Can't wait to see what the damage model is going to do to that car, the new one. I saw the Skippy. That looked impressive. There's not going to be much of it left, that's for sure. What did we all think of the damage model? Let us know on the chat. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. I know iRacing, they do take their time with some of these features, and people do get a bit impatient, but I do love the way that they really try to just go that extra mile with everything they do. I know it always needs fine-tuning and tweaking to get it into that sort of sweet spot, and it takes a few more seasons after that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that on the circuit, especially on some of these broadcasts. The other thing I can't wait to see is the animated pit crew. I want to see that as a broadcaster. You know, I want to see all of the cars being worked on by the pit crew. You know, that would just bring so much more to the sort of the pit lane, you know, and the pit strategy sequence when we're calling that action on screen, to see all of the pit crew running around there.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And of course, with us, who have no idea what we're talking about, if we can have some people, you know, playing the tyres on, we might just occasionally get something right, which would be fantastic.
Down into the pits, that was pretty foregone conclusion after that hard hit. Colin Robinson then trying to line up Max right. This is for the win in the AM class, so pretty much just as important. Robinson going to go to the inside, right, actually defending the outside, so maybe he's thinking reverse as to what everyone else has done. Yeah, he does. He tries to hold it around the outside. He'll have the inside for the shoot. This could be a good call because we've seen how strong that BMW is around the outside. So, yep, Max Wright, he's alive. Amateur driver showing the pros. Well, this is how you defend.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems to, yeah, maybe know something that the other drivers don't, because that was very simple, and we know how fast that BMW can be on the outside of that corner. So that was very, very wise there from Max Wright to hang on to that P8, and it would be a 5th and an 8th for him in races 2 and 3, which would be a fantastic effort in the end from Max Wright today. That is the closest battle out there. Apart from that, we don't really have two cars within about a second and a half of one another. Thompson is 2.4 seconds out in the lead. He seems to have this one in hand with just 2 minutes to go. It'll be this lap and another lap, as these two now start their penultimate lap now. Robinson right on the tail of Wright.
Another good exit really for Colin. See if he manages to go to the inside this time. Oh, sorry, the outside. Or whether Max is going to carry on with the same idea. Does go straight to the outside, so leaves the inside open.
He really likes this outside line, does Max Wright. Will it profit him here? Colin
He hasn't.
Robinson, though,
No,
straight
straight
down the
through.
inside. Oh, he's got a little bit of rear sliding there, but hangs on pretty comfortably. And yeah, Max Wright does lose out that position in the end. Good performance from Colin Robinson. At Kota, he really did struggle, I think, but today, I think as the races have gone on, he's just increased his competitiveness.
Yeah, great job out there. Great move. And yeah, just didn't really give Max the opportunity. It's actually a good little battle going on for rookie win too. And that is between Scott Malcolm, who's holding on to that at the moment. 0.3 of a second from Jamie Ayres. You can see that little group. So good job for Scott out there. But yeah, it's not over. Although just a little mistake really from Ayres. Just let him gain a couple of tenths of a second there.
Big slide for Ayres in the third to final corner. And yeah, he's just dropped back a little bit. Thompson is 2.8 seconds clear of Gafenko, and that last lap he pulled out by another 3/10. He's had the pace advantage over his rival Gafenko with 4 wins already this season. Thompson looks like he's going to claim his first. This is the last lap of the evening. And yeah, despite this adversity for Thompson, he's really shown how fast he is. He's also shown maybe his darker side and kind of how he can occasionally make mistakes, but his pace has more than compensated for that.
Yeah, it has today with this competition. That's the thing. I know Josh definitely capable for running it with, you know, in perhaps the pro qualifiers. I know Janssen spoke about that earlier on, didn't he? Whether or not I was going to be covered. I would imagine Josh is going to go for that. That kind of competition, you can't make those mistakes. That'll get punished. So good fight back from Josh. Good couple of wins. Well deserved, that's for sure in this meeting. But yeah, definitely something for him to work on. Great win though. Take nothing away from that drive. I tried my best to curse him at the start of the race. It almost worked, but in the end, the talent comes through strong.
Yeah, it's Richard Gafenko rising from 13th on the grid to 2nd in the end. It looks like Colin Robinson's going to be able to hang on against Max Wright. Scott Malcolm is quite comfortable against Jamie Ayres. So around the final corner comes Robinson. He will claim P8. And in fact, Ayres is close to Malcolm, but he's not close enough. And the team Madcar will just about hang on to that one across the line. Then we just got Chas Draycott to round the final corners.
Oh,
and
well.
oh, there he is. He was running. I think Draycott was having a decent run up there. In fact, he was 14th going on to the final lap. He's down to 15th now, so I think he did lose one position
in this lap alone. So just see exactly what happened. Sorry, Chaz. So that was the first one. So he's obviously he hasn't picked up any damage. And then
Good
the
save.
second one was, guess what we're going to see him recovering from. That's what we're waiting for him to finish. Yeah, just lost that. So just tyres are done. When you overheat them like that, can get absolutely cooked. It's a shame.
Well, he is now across the line. The final of the runners. But the first of the runners, Josh Thompson, takes race victory in this race 3 of the evening. Richard Gafenko still has a stranglehold on the championship. Looks very strong for that showdown qualification. He finishes in 2nd position, and while Smith comes home in 3rd. Michael Avdoka, good performances from him today in 4th. I think that's a 4th, a 3rd, and a 4th for him today. Richard Warmingham, little bit. We didn't really talk about him too much. Had a frustrating second race, but actually rose from 22nd to 5th. Really good drive from Richard, with Michael Gray coming home in 6th. Steve Lavelli finishes in 7th, with Colin Robinson 8th. Max Wright finishes 9th with Kip Stevens 10th. Next, Scott Malcolm, Jamie Ayres, Lee Woodburn, Stephen Baxter, Chas Draycott, Anthony Jacobson, Bart Delman, Carl Hardy, Rafe Cullinan, Brian Holmes, Stephen Burke, and Lane O'Connor rounding out the 22 car field out there.
And we are already joined by one Josh Thompson. Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Well, no time for getting up on the podium and celebrating with the champagne, apparently. Straight in for an interview. I like it.
Yeah, got to be committed.
Well, congratulations. 2 wins tonight. You didn't want to make that one easy, did you?
1 win. And
One
then
win?
1-2. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you didn't make it, did you? Sorry. Steve as well. In the race, I said that as well. Taking away your win from you, so apologies, Steve. So,
There you go, you can keep it.
two second places and 1 win.
And a
So
win.
3
Yeah.
podiums. Yeah, there we go. We'll get it right. So, but still, a pretty decent night's worth of racing, and actually gives you a good heads up as to what's going to happen tomorrow night for World GT.
That's the main reason why I wanted to do this league. Obviously, I did a bit last season, but obviously I used that to pick the car, and obviously picked the BMW. I was a bit worried in testing, because at one point I was 8 tenths away. I was like, this could be a difficult week. Lucky enough, managed to figure something out with the car, just kept plucking away lap after lap, and to be frankly honest, I think race 1, if I didn't mess up and have it in engine map 4 the entire race, the last 3 laps, that might have helped. And in race 2, having internet issues halfway through, because obviously just moved house and stuff like that. So I'm using like a hotspot route at the moment, which is not ideal. So I get my proper internet on Thursday. So obviously I'm having to battle with that. So obviously through race 2, I was on my phone, turning it onto airplane mode, anything silly. But then race 3, even then, nearly threw it away. I never make it easy for myself, really.
Well, I have to say, I tried to curse you as best I could at the start of the race, just to say you were going to walk it. Just get a race of it, and it worked like a treat, and we did have a great race, and you pulled off some epic moves around the outside, really showing where that BMW is strong. Of course, you've got some rivals from World GT in the chat watching, so they're alive to the situation now. So you've gained a bit of an advantage, but I think you might help them out as well.
Yeah, lucky enough, obviously, I got on with the Booster boys quite well. Because I was originally going to do this with them, the World GT and stuff like that with them, but then I got approached by CQR to race with them, and obviously I wanted to split up a little bit because obviously I raced with Booster and BSR TC. I thought, oh, it'd be quite nice because obviously Radical's not doing World GT. So obviously I chose a BMW, and so did 3/4 of Booster because of that. And then I've gone to CQR, and I made 3/4 of CQR go for BMWs. So it's a bit, but nah, I think the race will be good. To me, I still think the Merc will be good, especially in the hands of Foggy. But obviously, it's good to know because Fidoka is in here, Anwar, Richard, and let's face it, and they were inside the top 5 most of last week. So to know I had such a pace advantage is quite reassuring for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Well, congrats, mate. Who do you want to give a quick shout out to before we let you go?
You guys for the broadcasting, Lee Deemer for getting me into this league, same with Kip. Obviously, never really thought I would have got into this, but I did. Everyone else who took part in the racing, and CQR, Radicals, and Boosted, really.
So much, mate. Well, have a good evening. Don't forget to hit the like on our
Yeah,
Facebook. Give it a share as you you put on a bit of a show today, and be worth sharing it with the world.
Yeah, no worries, will do.
All right, mate. Thanks a lot. Catch you again. Monday night.
Yeah, catch you tomorrow. See you later, guys.
I'm going to bring up Scott Malcolm next because he had a pretty tasty meeting as well. Scott, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me because my voice is a bit tickle.
Aye, we can. That's fine. Well, good meeting for yourself tonight. I believe you took all 3 class wins tonight.
Well, I was surprised.
Yeah?
Oh well, okay.
News to you,
I'll take that.
Woo! Podium, yeah, definitely got a couple, that's for sure. I mean, I might have to go back and look at the data to confirm, but I'm sure I saw you your name leading the class category every time. So, yeah, good job. You were under a lot of pressure tonight. Pretty much every time we jumped to you on camera, you had a car having had a little run on you. Just tell us about your night, how it felt, what kind of pressures you were under.
Well, I just try to get the car home. That's all I do. I try to do wee dives up the inside of that. I'll just stick to my lines, stick to what I'm good at. I did watch last week's podcast, and I seen there's like a wee bit of criticism, which is due because not all that great, but tried a few things tonight that did seem to work.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, as a minimum, I'm sure it was, 3 podiums in class. But like I say, I'm pretty sure you won all 3 of them tonight. So, absolutely awesome job. Next week, we are heading, if I can find it. Of course, tomorrow night you'll be back in the car again because you're doing World GT as well, aren't you? So,
yes,
gives you a bit of a prep for that one. So, I mean, first off, after tonight's sort of running, you confident going into that one?
Yeah, I'm confident. I like that track. It's one of the first tracks I bought off iRacing. That was like, I used to test just about every car I bought there. So I would say I'm pretty confident at this track.
I'm just waiting for my page to refresh before we can talk about where next week is here. Come on! Yeah, when you want something to load really quick and it just doesn't. It's always the way. Right, so we are...
Mid Ohio.
Mid-Ohio, what's that?
Yeah, for some reason I haven't got it showing on my list of broadcasts, which means I've missed it, so I need to get that one sorted out. Well, I'll take your word for it and say it is Mid-Ohio. I think you are right. I do remember Mid-Ohio being on the card. So
Apparently it's Montreal.
Montreal.
Mid-Ohio is round 4. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is round 3.
All right.
There we go. So, well, Montreal then. How do you feel about that next week? Be honest. Tell us the truth. You hate bloody rubbish circuit. Whatever you fancy.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I really hate it. No.
I mean, it is a tough old circuit, isn't it? If your braking's not on point, it's a tough track. And if you don't mind me saying, I've picked up on previous broadcasts, saying, sometimes you're missing your braking points, you're in a bit deep and stuff like that. So I can see why that would be a circuit that, would be an absolute, ball ache for you.
Yeah.
It just kind of really exaggerates kind of where, as a driver, you kind of want to improve,
Yeah, well, you just took the words straight out of my mouth. Yeah. I try to get that braking sorted out, but I just really... I've just got a habit, and it's a habit that I can't get out of.
Well, it will come. Practice helps. Now now you know where the problem is. That's always a key thing, It's like kind of like when you're trying to quit smoking, you know it's wrong, and you need to stop and stuff like that, and you want to do it, kind of thing. That's when it happens. So at least you kind of identified the problem, and the next step, like you say, is just keep plucking away at it, trying to get it sorted. Right.
Yeah, try and get the braking smooth and that. I did notice a few times I locked all 4 wheels up.
We did see that as well tonight.
Did you see the smoke eye?
Yeah, we did. Well, we wish you all the best next week and, of course, tomorrow. But for now, anyone want to give a shout out to?
Just all the usual guys like Lee for running this series, and you guys for putting on the broadcast, and just basically everybody else for putting up with me. And also the Team Mad guys for getting me up to speed in this Merc. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be where I am. at this precise moment in time.
Awesome stuff. Thanks. Right. All the best.
Yeah.
Have a good rest of your evening, and yeah, we'll catch you next week or
Cheers.
tomorrow as well, probably.
Yeah, cheers. I'll wait for a beer.
Right. Last but not least, we have Chaz Draycott.
Hi boys, how are we doing?
Yeah, our co-colleague.
Indeed.
Jumped in for a little bit of fun, I think, tonight, and yeah. Well, first off, did you have some?
I had a lot of fun, yeah. It was actually, it took a bit of pressure off just sort of subconsciously knowing that the field wasn't as massive as you see in World GT. Me and Steve wanted to try and use it as a little bit of practice, but also just to have a laugh with the car around that track, because it's a really good track. But we soon figured out that the Audi probably wasn't the favoured car there. Quite oversteering a lot of the corners, because you've got to be very smooth on the throttle as you come out of them, and it just wasn't playing ball. So we're happy with the results, though. I mean, 8th and 10th in race 1 was a very welcome result, but after that it just got tougher and tougher, and I don't know if you caught my mistake at the end of the last race there, but I actually beached it on a curb and couldn't move for a minute.
We didn't see that one. No, we did catch. We sort of saw you go. We sort of saw you spin, but we didn't see you get beached actually. So.
Yeah, the rear wheels went on the ground, so I was sort of stuck there for a minute.
That kind of is the problem with the Audi, isn't it? Because it is by far the lowest of the of all of the GT3 cars out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can really feel it over curbs a lot. I mean, I was using a setup tonight that was handling the curbs quite well, to be fair, especially at turn 1 where there's a curb that's the size of half of England. But yeah, it seemed to cope all right, except for that one little moment, it seems.
Tomorrow then, so obviously, like I said, like you just said there, you're not exactly looking forward perhaps to tomorrow with how the Audi performed tonight. What can you do in a day to try and sort that out?
Not a massive amount really, if I'm honest. Me and Steve were struggling setup wise. We tried about 9 or 10 different setups in practice before that, and then just tweaked little things, and I was on one eventually. It was quite oversteery on the throttle, but it seemed to be quick. It held pace all the way through the race, which was the key thing. It's just you've got to be very, very careful with it, especially when you're battling as well. You know that obviously you try and sort of get on the throttle that little bit earlier or gain a cutback, and you don't always concentrate on exactly how the car is behaving all the time. So it's going to be a tough one regardless. So I think we've just got to keep our chins up and try and keep our noses clean.
Tough. Fine, mate. Take it away with anyone you want to thank.
Just the boys from Thrust Vector, Steve for always helping out. The boys from Fit Style as well, Ben Gregory, Jack Styles and Phil Morton were in the session tonight. And Michael Avdoka, as always. They were helping out with everything and sort of coaxing us through the race. So big shout out to those guys for always helping us.
Mate, we'll catch you Monday or tomorrow, and yeah, I'll see you in the box on Tuesday.
Shall do indeed. Have a good night, lads.
Sam, over to you, mate. Let's wrap up this show and get on out of here.
Yeah, another awesome race in the BSR Grand Tour. Like I've already talked about, next race will be at Montreal. What a challenge that will be for the drivers. We certainly hope that you'll join us for that one. Of course, tomorrow we've got the World GT, so certainly tune in for that one. That will be a 40-car field, potentially, same cars around the same circuit. So that should be very, very action-packed. But for now, for me and for Max, we bid you goodbye, and we will see you tomorrow.